Okay, can everyone hear me?
What's that?
Okay, great. I hear you now. Can
You
I
can
hear?
hear? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we hear
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. All right, it is 5:30 p.m. So we will start the City of Durango City Council regular meeting. It is April 15th. The time is 5:30 p.m. Can I get a call to order and a roll call, please?
Councilor Woodruff,
Here.
Mayor Buell,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Yazzie,
Here.
Councilor Youssef, and Councilor Bosmans.
Present.
All right, item 1.1, the reading of the Indigenous Land Acknowledgement. This is a call to honor and respect Indigenous sovereignty and self-determination. As residents and visitors of Durango, we are called upon to educate ourselves about the history and cultural heritage of the land we inhabit. The city of Durango is situated on the ancestral homelands and territories of the Nuchu, Ute, Jicarilla, Apache, Pueblos of New Mexico, Hopi-Sinam, Hopi, and Dene Navajo nations. The original stewards of this land were forcibly removed and exposed to countless atrocities by the United States government, including repeatedly broken treaties, forced assimilation, the tragic legacy of Indian boarding schools, and the loss of ancestral homelands. We recognize lasting generational trauma exists within Native communities today. We affirm the continuing importance of ancestral sites to descendant communities as integral to the living cultural landscape. This acknowledgement only becomes meaningful when combined with accountable relationships and informed actions. May this serve as a step towards inclusion and reconciliation. Okay, next item, we have the introduction of the translator.
Hi, sorry. My name is Leis Torres, and I am here with my colleague, B. Torres. Today, we will be your interpreters with the Community Language Co-op, and we are here so that we can be justice. We can have justice for all the languages that we have in this room. So today, you will be able to access interpretation through the More menu, and you can go to Language and Speech and choose the interpretation language. And if you have any questions, put it in the chat. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Liz Torres y estoy aquí con mi colega B. Torres y seremos sus intérpretes el día de hoy. Vamos a interpretar simultáneamente y si para poder tener acceso a la interpretación, usted puede ir a More o más los tres puntitos y ahí a ir al lenguaje y podrá seleccionar el idioma de su corazón. And we can go ahead and get started.
Thank you. All right, next item, we have item 3, opening remarks by mayor and council. Does anyone have any opening remarks today?
Yes, I do, if I may.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor Bosmans.
Yeah, since this will be my last city council meeting, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank all of those that have supported me over the years, all the information and issues we discussed, and your engagement was truly appreciated. It's been an honor to serve our community. And I would like to congratulate the new candidates that won the election and will be sworn in shortly. I'm happy to vacate my place on the dais for you, and I wish you well.
Great, thank you, Councilor Bosmans. Anyone else?
No.
Okay, Great, thank you. Next up, we have administrative items. Item 4. Item 4.1, the certification of election results. Faye, are you going to read those and then we'll
Yeah,
do a motion? Okay, great.
Yeah, they do. Mayor and council, pursuant to Durango City Charter and the Uniform Election Code, I will present for council's approval the certification of the results of the regular election held April 1st, 2025. This election was conducted to elect 3 city councilors from a field of 5 candidates, with the 3 candidates receiving the most votes being sworn in tonight for terms of 4 years. Kip Koso ended the vote tally with 3,582 votes. Shirley Gonzalez ended up with 2,738 votes. Jessica Buell ended with 2,712 votes. Chris Elias ended with 1,787 votes. And Olivia Busmans ended with 1,310. On question 2A, concerning the reauthorization of the 2005 sales tax, votes were 3,249 in the affirmative, 1,558 opposed. The canvass of votes verified that 14,307 ballots were distributed to active registered voters. Of that number, 4,895 ballots were returned and counted, resulting in a 34.21% voter turnout. With that, I would like to request that council make a motion to certify the election results of the April 1st, 2025 election.
Excellent.
So
Thank you,
moved.
Faye. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And I'll second. Any council discussion? All right. Do I have a roll call?
Councilor Bosmans,
Yes.
Councilor Youssef is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Yazzie,
Yes.
Mayor Buell,
Yes.
and Councilor Woodruff.
Yes.
Excellent. Next item, 4.2, the administration of oaths for office of new councilors.
And if I could ask the councilors that are present in person to come to the front of the podium to be sworn in, please. And Mayor Buell, Councilor Buell, if you would follow along with us as well, I would appreciate that. I'll have you sign your paperwork when you return in person.
Yes, of course.
If I could ask you all to raise your right hand. And please state your names one by one. First, Jessica, if you would.
Jessica Buell.
Shirley Gonzalez.
Kip Kosa.
And if you would repeat after me. I solemnly declare
I solemnly declare
Solemnly declare
that I will support
that I
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Charter and ordinances
and the Charter and ordinances
of the City of Durango,
of the City of Durango,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
perform the duties of City Councilor
perform the duties of City Councilor
for the City of Durango.
for the City of Durango.
Congratulations. After the meeting, if I could get both of you to sign your oaths, then we will record those with the county and we'll keep on the file for ourselves.
Okay.
Congratulations.
All right, moving along. We have item 5, the election
So
of
Kim up here
officers.
for 2 items.
On the dice.
Okay. Item 5,
Just
the
sit
election.
for right
oh,
now and then we'll just do these 2 and then reseat.
Okay. Item 5, the election of officers. Item 5.1, the election of mayor. It is my honor and I'm so excited to make a motion to elect Gilda Yazzie as our next mayor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any council discussion? All right, can I get a roll call?
Councilor Koso,
Yes.
Counselor Buell,
Yes.
Counselor Woodruff,
Yes.
Counselor Yazzie,
Yes.
and Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Item 5.2, the election of the mayor pro tem, and I'm going to take this one too. I'm going to make a motion to appoint Counselor Dave Woodruff as our next mayor pro tem. Do I have a second?
Second.
Council discussion? Excellent. Can I get a roll call?
Counselor Buell,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Koso,
Yes.
Counselor Woodruff,
Yes.
and Mayor Yazzie.
Yes.
All right. Item 5.3, the administration of the oaths of office for the mayor and the mayor pro tem.
So if I could ask Gilda and Dave to join me at the podium. Again, if each of you could state your names, please.
Gilda Yazzie.
Dave Woodruff.
And when we get to perform the duties of, you would insert mayor, of course, and you would insert mayor pro tem. Other than that, if you would repeat after me, I solemnly declare
I solemnly declare
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Charter and ordinances
and the Charter and ordinances
of the City of Durango,
of the City of Durango,
and that I will faithfully
And that I
and that I
will faithfully
faithfully
perform the duties of
perform the duties of mayor
Mayor Pro Tem
for the City of Durango.
for the City of Durango.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna say my last agenda item before Gilda takes over. Item 6, break. We're gonna reseat the dais. Thank outgoing counselors. Who's in charge of that? Is anyone gonna take the lead or should I?
Yeah, if you want to, go ahead.
Okay, I would just like to again thank Melissa Youssef. I know she's not there today because she was traveling, but for her 8 years of dedication, and then also thank Counselor Bosmans for his 4 years on council. It was been a privilege to serve along both of them, and I'm excited. I apologize I'm not there in person today. I had a work meeting that I could not turn away from, but I will be there next time to give Kip and Shirley a big congratulations. And so, yes, thank you guys. Thank you, Olivier. Thank you, Melissa, for your time on council. And I look forward to working with the new set of counselors. So we will take a break and then reseat the dais, and then we will start with Gilda taking the helm.
Gilda, do you have a preference on where you would?
She's got it. Got that party.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. You got it. Congratulations.
Cheers, thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
All of us? Or did
Thanks. Oh, man.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Good to see you.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. Oh, I'm not changing anything.
Oh, well.
I know. Hey, Captain. Yes, ma'am. Good to see you. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so first one, we'll see how happens. Hopefully I can't mess it up too bad. Well. I mean, this, it's still there, so I don't know.
It's really up to you.
Oh. Hey, Gilda, so do you want to be here? What do you have a preference on right or left of you? Yeah.
So it's me, Jessica, Shirley.
Shirley's over
That works?
We'll work it slowly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be in the right spot. Okay.
Gilda. John Jerry. Sheets.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Mayor Pro Tem, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah. That's right.
Think she'll be offended if I move her stuff?
I would just throw it. Yeah, I mean, just like kind of toss it over there. Yeah. Shirley, I think you are to the right of Gilda. Uh, Oh, man.
Missing a hard copy. Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
I got moved somewhere.
Thank you, Jessica, for all your leadership over the past year. I really do appreciate it. All righty, so we're on to number 7 and its presentation. So we're going to have 2 proclamations. The first one is the National Safety Telecommunicators Week. Is there anybody present? Here we go.
Thank you. As you may.
Sure. Okay, so we have a proclamation recognizing April 14th through the 20th as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Whereas the dedicated operational staff of the Durango Emergency Communications Center connects our citizens with critical and often life-saving services in their time of need, while also serving as an unfailing lifeline to first responders 24/7, 365 days a year. And whereas these telecommunicators often operate under immense pressure and regularly encounter profoundly traumatic incidents, exemplify exceptional professionalism, compassion, and resourcefulness throughout every call. And whereas their ability to quickly and accurately assess emergency situations, dispatch appropriate resources without delay, and relay critical information with precision to public safety and field units is essential to the safety and well-being of our community. And whereas the second full week of April is designated as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week to honor and celebrate these unseen heroes behind the headset. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the city of Durango, Colorado, do hereby proclaim the week of April 14th through the 20th, 2025 as the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Durango, Colorado, and encourage all residents to recognize and thank these dedicated individuals for their invaluable service. Of course, signed on this day, the 14th of April, 2025. Thank you so much for your service.
It looks like Jose may have a book for you. Look over there. That's me.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for that, and Council. Really appreciate this support. My name is Katie Fox. I'm the Emergency Communications Director. I have our Operations Manager, Waverly Lopez, and one of our fully proficient emergency dispatchers, Xavier Hahn, with me tonight. Really appreciate the support and recognition for our outstanding operational crew, and really look forward to working with you all in the coming year to ensure we continue to provide exceptional emergency communication services for our citizens and our client agencies. So thank you for this.
All righty, we have a second proclamation recognizing April as Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. Do we have participants? Come on up. It's okay. Come on over. I'm not going to bite. Thank you for being here. Hey, that's what I think. Hey, we used to play ball, I think. Yeah.
Know you.
Whereas Parkinson's disease is a chronic progressive neurological disease and is the second most common neurodegenerative disease in the United States after Alzheimer's disease. And whereas it is estimated that over 1.5 million people in the United States and an estimated 10 million in the world live with Parkinson's disease. Closer to home, there are over 17,000 known people in Colorado who suffer from this disease, and whereas the combined direct and indirect cost of Parkinson's disease, including treatment, disability, and lost income from the inability to work, are estimated at $52 billion per year. Whereas there is no known cure or drug to slow or halt the progressiveness of this disease, but we are getting close. Everyone's continued financial support is still needed and appreciated, whereas the symptoms vary from person to person and can include tumors and slowness of movement, rigidity, gait and balance difficulty, speech and swallowing, dementia and mood disorders, and much more. Now, therefore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Durango, I hereby proclaim the month of April as Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month, and hereby proclaim April 15th, 2025 as Parkinson's Disease Recognition Day in Durango, to raise awareness and be an advocate for Parkinson's disease. Signed this day, the 15th of April, 2025. So thank you very much. Okay, girl. If you want to say a couple words, go right ahead.
The Parkinson's community, many of whom are here, want to extend our gratitude to our city and its representatives for this declaration. We really need your encouragement and support. It enriches our lives now and brings us hope for a cure in the near future. Thank you.
I wasn't sure what the city council supported Parkinson's with or how they go about it, but I just wanted to say something about our support group. Our group has 30 to 35 members who meet once a month on the second Wednesday of each month. Our meetings are organized and facilitated by Katie Kopek, who owns the Good Fight Boxing Gym. We receive a variety of support from PAR, the Parkinson's Association of the Rockies. We also receive support from the Davis Finney Group and the Michael J. Fox Foundation. The support group is valuable for many reasons, in no particular order. It provides a forum whereby Parky people can find answers, solace, and the hope needed to fight this incurable, insidious condition. Look carefully around at the people in your support group and you can see the future. Parkinson's won't kill you, but it can take you down if you don't fight it. Our group fights Parkinson's in several ways. Our monthly meetings has lively discussions about doctors, medical procedures, and we learn from each other's experiences. We laugh and we plan fun events that over time have strengthened the bond that we share with each other. Our group does not seek pity. We are shaky warriors that take pride in living well with Parkinson's. I would like to mention that Durango is front and center in the fundraising to find a cure for this condition. 2 members of our community were part of the 4-man team that rode across San Diego, raising $48 million for the Parkinson's, for the Michael J. Fox Association. So thank you. Just letting you be aware of it.
You want to get a picture?
Yeah.
Let's get a picture.
Guess I can put-
I think they go with them. The proclamations.
We usually give it to them, but I'll make sure we'll get it. Thank you, Mayor. The next item on the agenda is city manager updates.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I do have 2 updates to pass on. The first one is just a recognition to Elliot Fitz and Mary Catherine and our budget team for receiving the Government Financial Officers Award for Excellence in Budgeting and placing the budget together. So definitely want to give them a shout out and a thank you for your hard work in getting that completed. Secondly, also, if we're going to celebrate, I am going to take accountability for an error that was made. Unfortunately, in a press release I did not catch, we did have our office hours wrong for Councilor or now Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff. The date was incorrect. The date was actually supposed to be tomorrow, not today. So I know that there were some people who showed up at the council office hours pretty upset, thinking that maybe Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff missed it or skipped it, but that is not that was not the case. It was a mistake on my side, and we had a press release that was incorrect. So I take accountability for that and apologize. And so if anybody was here or listening that was at the council office hours, please take our apologies for that. It is tomorrow at the library from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And in a show of, for those, if people are able to make it, if they showed up today, we will have coffee and donuts there as an apology to those that showed up and obviously on our mistake. So apologies again to the public and to Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff.
The next item on the agenda is an information only. It is a committee and board liaison report with the Airport Commission quarterly report in your agenda packet. If there's no discussion, I can move to the next item. Item 10 is public comment on action items only that are items on the agenda for council vote tonight. Tom, could you play the announcement?
Public comment is encouraged on agenda items set for consideration and a vote by the council tonight. Public comments on items not set for consideration by the council come later in the meeting. Please begin your comments by stating the agenda item set for a vote you intend to speak on, your full name, and if you are a resident of the city of Durango. Make your comments directly to the council. Do not expect a response from the council or staff. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, unless modified by the council. Unused time is not transferable to other speakers. Comments must be specific to the item you identified when you began your comments. Profanity, hate speech, personally derogatory remarks, speech unrelated to the item you identified, or other speech that is disruptive to the meeting will be ruled out of order by the chair, and any remaining time will be forfeited by the speaker. Exceeding the time limit infringes on the rights of others and is out of order. Only a majority vote of the council can modify time limits. Please note, you must sign up prior to the mayor calling the item on the agenda. Signing up after the item is called will result in your name not being called to speak.
Only one person has signed up for items that are on the agenda. That's Lori Walsh, wishing to speak on item 14.2, a resolution to amend the city's capital budget.
Here too. I like.
Doesn't smell good, so I was trying not to. Hi, do I talking into here?
Okay, great. Yes, I'm pretty loud, so. Oh, okay.
I'll do that. This feels more natural. So I'm Lori Walsh. I am a resident of the city of Durango. I've lived here for 20 years. I'm here in support of a new hockey facility, new hockey rink. My whole family plays hockey. My husband, myself, and my 9-year-old daughter. She just started playing this year. One of the reasons I'm here is because, as some of you may know, our rink currently, as I understand, I don't know all the details. I know someone else was, Ashley was going to comment on that as well today, but apparently in the future, our rink needs some maintenance because there's a crack at some edge and one of the edges of the rink is lifted. So you can imagine that doesn't quite make for some fair play out there. So it's important to me as a community member and having a daughter growing up here that we have a facility that is also regulation size. Our rink is very small. When we go to tournaments, when our youth program goes to tournaments, or when our adults, we still go to tournaments and have fun playing hockey. The rinks are regulation size, and our rink is, I don't know the exact number, but it feels like our rink is as long as a normal hockey rink is the width. So for us to go and play, it's a different game, but also more importantly for us to try to bring other teams here to have tournaments and help bring in, I mean, we can bring in 200 people. There's 13 to 15 players, maybe sometimes 17 on a roster per team. And you can bring in lots of business that way. We can fill hotel rooms, restaurants, we eat out a lot. We like to drink beer. We like to be in the bars, like lots of kids play, parents come. So it's a benefit for our town. Right now, our hockey rink as it is maxed at the seams. The hockey leagues go from, I think the first game's at like 5 o'clock. So I hope you don't have a job that you have to be at till 5 or you can't play in that game. And they also go all the way till 10:45 at night. So I play in a couple different leagues. I stopped playing in the main league because obviously 10:45 at night is a pretty tricky, that's the start of the hockey game, just to be clear. So you're not getting home till midnight, 12:30, and then you try to wake up for your day job. It's pretty challenging. So people are, I mean, but even with that said, we have over 500 participants in the adult league. We have the Geezers League, which are people that are over 40 and over. We have a women's only league, which is another 60 participants. We have people playing at 6:30 in the morning. There's no shower, so you go and play at 6:30 and then have to go to
running out of
work.
time, so.
So sorry. Anyway, point being is that I'm just here to support the rink. So the new rink. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Could we have a reading of the consent agenda?
Mayor, I did neglect under item 9. Generally, the mayor invites councilors to report on their activities.
Okay.
Since the last meeting.
Alrighty. Okay, so back to number 9. Go ahead. Does anybody have any committee reports? Any activities
Yeah, I just got a quick one, real quick.
Office hours?
Yeah, I almost had office hours today. Thank you to anybody that did show up and I wasn't there. My apologies. I did have a Chamber of Commerce meeting this morning. We talked about the SOAR process and the connections pillar and how that all integrates in terms of the long-term strategic planning for the chamber and how we look at the chamber and its role within the community. So it was really good to have those conversations. And we talked about a few things regarding ballot measure 2A, and then having, potential conversations around the chamber board liaison that we'll get into later. But yeah, I think they're also really excited with the new election and the results. And I think we're all excited to push forward.
Excellent. Okay, so let's see. On Thursday, I had the opportunity to meet, and Jessica was also there. The incoming president from Fort Lewis College, Heather Stockton, and that was actually real eventful, and had the time to talk with other leaders in the community. Let me see. Oh, then on the 11th, I went up to Fort Lewis College and participated in their opening of their new sports performance center. And they really have a very nice facility for athletes to train. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm Jessica's also alumnus, and I am too, from Fort Lewis College. So we're involved with whatever they do up there. And then, of course, on Saturday the 12th, we did Earth Day, and I read a couple opening statements and participated in some of the activities down there. So that was all very eventful. And Jessica, do you have any events?
Yeah, I have a few. I won't mention the ones you just did. I also had the Alliance board meeting and our Alliance member meetings that we had over the last couple weeks. We got updates on budget and let's see here, childcare, Project Run. There's been a bunch of things the Alliance is doing, as well as getting ready for our economic summit, which will be in September, which is exciting. I know that they're also doing the housing conference at the DoubleTree is coming up, I believe, next month. I think Gilda sits on the RHA, so she might have some more details on that. We also, let's see, I went to the Green Business Roundtable last week, where we heard from Chris, the new executive director for LPEA, and talking about kind of like region initiatives. There is an LPEA election coming up, so that's super important that we vote. Yeah, and so that's kind of been my couple weeks.
Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Just want to take a moment to thank everyone and my colleagues as I look forward to meeting with so many of you. I have had the opportunity to meet with some of the executive directors of certain organizations, specifically the LPEA, and looking forward to really meeting all of you. It's my email address, shirley.gonzalez@durango.co.gov. I'm looking forward to having some conversations with the community about priorities, and looking forward also to spending some time with my colleagues. I'm currently on the board of Local First and also of the Economic Development Alliance. So I have the opportunity to meet with some leaders, but more looking forward to the opportunity to meet with constituents about what your greatest concerns are. So still working on getting a phone. I can't figure it out quite yet, but I know the technology community here is going to help me hopefully today get that set up. But in the meanwhile, if you could reach out to me by email, I would greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to meeting all of you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Echoing Shirley's comments as well, I guess I also wanted to make sure we took a moment to say that the elections are handled by the county and city teaming up together. Faye, thank you very much for running an excellent election season, as well as thank the county for all the work that they do in running our elections as well. So just wanted to add that. I know I'm stretching the point of this section of our agenda.
On to item 10. Public comment on action items only. Do we have any participants? Wait, then how come it says?
We had to go back. We went to we did
The public comments, then we had to go back to get that one. So we're actually on 11. Apologies for the confusion.
Okay, so could we have a reading of the consent agenda?
11.1 is approval of minutes. With the approval of minutes of the April 1st, 2025 City Council regular meeting. 11.2 is final reading of ordinances, including 11.2.1 Ordinance 0-2025-0020, excuse me, authorizing the City of Durango to sublease the offices located at 802 Main Avenue to Lucky Services, LLC, the Board of Trustees for Fort Lewis College, and the Durango Business Improvement District. There are no resolutions, no administrative items, no request for public hearings, and no introduction of ordinances tonight. 11.7 is a request for excused absence. 11.7.1 with a request for an excused absence for Councilor Gonzalez for the May 6, 2025 study session and regular meeting. And that concludes the consent agenda.
Yeah, Mayor, may I please pull 11.2.1 from the consent agenda?
Second.
I'm going to pull the Lucky Services lease from the consent agenda as well.
Need a motion on the balance.
So I move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 11.2.1 being pulled.
Second, yeah. Any discussion?
Councilor Gonzalez. Mayor Yazzie.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff.
Yes.
Councilor Buell.
Yes.
And Councilor Koso.
Yes.
Brings us to 11.2.1, which is ordinance, final reading of ordinance 02025-0020, authorizing the city of Durango to sublease the offices located at 802 Main to Lucky Services, LLC, the Board of Trustees for Fort Lewis College, and the Durango Business Improvement District.
I move to approve ordinance 2025-0020, authorizing the city of Durango to sublease the offices located at 802 Main Avenue to Lucky Services LLC, the Board of Trustees for Fort Lewis College, and the Durango Business Improvement District.
So I believe that council or
Yeah, please, Mark. I know we pulled it, that yeah, I'll let you take it from here.
Councilor Buell, I think you wanted to recuse yourself from this one.
Yes, sorry, I can't hear very well. I don't know if some people's mics aren't on, but I'm going to recuse myself from this vote. That's why I wanted to pull it.
Are there any points that we need to clarify, Mark?
Sure, I can give you a brief summary. This is for second reading. Councilor Buell did recuse herself at the first consideration of the ordinance because she owns the business that is the subject of the lease. There's a long history here of her having leased this property prior to the city taking over the matter. All the conflicts were run through my office. I think they've been written about in the press. I think all the public records requests about them have been answered. Durango is a small town with limited office space. This works for her and her business. She leased it from Visit Durango. We merged with Visit Durango, so we're now simply substituting our name for Visit Durango's name at the same rate with all the other people that are using office space in that building. And all those leases are exactly the same between her and the two other entities that lease office space there.
All righty, is there any other discussion? If not, could we get a motion?
We have a motion, I think.
Okay. No more discussion, then?
Mayor Yazzie.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilor Koso.
Yes.
And Councilor Buell has recused herself. There are no public hearings under item 13. That brings us to resolutions, with resolution 14.1 being the first step, which is a resolution to open council discussion and assign council liaisons to external boards, internal boards, and interview teams for boards and commissions.
I move to approve a resolution to open council discussion and assign council liaisons to external boards, internal boards, and interview teams for boards and commissions.
I'll second.
As an overview, Mayor and Council, we are in the process now of accepting applications for vacant positions on our boards and commissions. Each one of those boards and commissions has an assigned interview team, which has previously been 2 councilors and the board chairman of the board. For new boards, that role is filled by the staff liaison assigned to that board. So those interview teams, if council appoints those and lets us know who they are, then we can move forward with setting up those interviews towards the beginning of May so that those appointments can be made and appointments can start June 1st. In addition, we've provided a list to the mayor of the external boards and the internal boards that have council liaisons. And if those council felt the need to make those appointments tonight or would like to make those appointments, we'll make a record of that as well.
It's time to ask questions.
So thank you, Mayor. I know that there has been a list that I have seen that assigns each of us to particular committees. But I don't see them here for our meeting today. I don't see it agendized. Is that something that the public has information on?
At this point, we're just setting up the process to nominate people to be on these boards and commissions.
Okay, not our internal boards and commissions that we've been assigned.
So historically, what has happened when we've had new council members come on, so it was 2 years ago, the mayor would provide recommendations, which she sent out as a talking point for you to discuss, because what we're doing here is opening up the discussion. And so those are a starting point for the council to discuss of the recommended counselor liaisons. There's two. There's the interview teams where 2 counselors will do the interviews for those certain boards and commissions and then report back to the council with recommendations of who to appoint. And then there's actually council liaison appointments, to which those are positions in which a council member will serve on representing the city. So this is the part to start the discussions, open discussions, and then us be able to bring back a resolution that would actually officially appoint these liaisons at the future council meeting.
Councilor Gonzalez, I believe there's an email sent on April 10th that kind of outlined.
I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
I've seen it, but is that something that the public sees? I guess I don't see it here as part of our agenda. I'm comfortable with the assignments as I've seen them, but I'm not sure what we're approving. If
You're not approving anything. All you're doing is opening up discussion. So if you were okay with the recommendations that Mayor Yazzie had approved or had sent out, yes, then we would put that on an agenda with a resolution that would actually show where those nominations were and those people would be on. So in the next council meeting per se, you would be able to have it. The intent of getting that out beforehand is just to give the councilors an opportunity to have something to start from, to have discussions and say, maybe this doesn't work or this doesn't, we want to do some changes, instead of it just kind of being this blank slate and having 15 different openings and trying to figure that portion out. So it's just a starting point. If those recommendations are what you would like the council to consider for passing at the next council meeting, that would be the motion that would place this on the next agenda item, or the next agenda, excuse me, to have it actually approved through resolution.
Okay, well, I'm comfortable with the way I've seen them as presented. So perhaps if I need to make is the item to make a motion to approve a discussion of was presented internally. It is not entirely clear to me that what we're approving or what we're motioning, just we're motioning for an open discussion.
That was the motion that was made by Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff, was to open the discussion.
Okay, I second.
Okay, so at this point, Dave opened the discussion to look at this issue. So normally what happens is we bring all of these discussion items before the public so they know what's happening and we know what's happening. And so this is just starting the first process to this. So there's actually no assignments yet. So we should have a motion at this point to move forward.
So
yes.
Oh, I was just going to say, we have the motion for the discussion, and I'll just jump in and say, for the discussion piece of this, I support Mayor Yazzie's proposal that she sent out via email for the assignment she assigned to me, for one. And so I don't know if we want to go around and just say if you accept what was proposed, and then we can issue that to the public and vote on it next time.
And that would also be your opportunity, if you didn't agree, to make suggestions or alterations to be considered at the next meeting.
Okay, for my information, did all the council members have a chance to look at the document of April 10th? All righty,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
all righty. So at this point, we have knowledge that we sent out the list. People are reviewing it, so let's move on to go ahead and put it on an agenda item for the next meeting.
That
I need
list,
to approve it.
My apologies. I'm
Sure.
just waiting my turn.
Oh, no
I've got
worries.
some
Go ahead.
discussion. Yeah, I've got some discussion on this for sure. So it was pretty clear to me on the retirement board, both Shirley and I were placed on there as interviewees. I'm not sure we want both the new counselors on the same interview set, so I thought we should consider adjusting a counselor for one of those. I did want to get some history on the interview teams and connecting those back to the short-term boards of the commissions that we serve on. Does it make sense to try and tie those two things together? If we're serving on a board, should we be part of an interview team that is connected back to that same department, board, whatever that is? I'm just throwing that out there. I just don't know the answer.
That would be, at the pleasure of the council. What you kind of look at it is you're just, the way we see it, you're just doing the interviews and then making recommendations. So for example, if we came up, we'll look at the Community and Cultural Relations Commission. The two counselors would say we interviewed 7 people. We have 2 spots open. These are the 2 people we would recommend, and that would be in the council packet for the counselors to know. They read 7. Here are the 2 they're recommending, and then the council would then make that decision. I don't know if there's much portion on there that would be influenced whether you're on the board, because I think there's only the Airport Commission, and then what do we have? The Library Advisory Board are the real 2, and then the retirement boards are the 3 that are there. And there's usually not that much of a conflict of interest that I've seen with that, but it's a point well taken for the council to consider.
Yeah, and even less so conflict of interest than just following through. I've interviewed those folks. Those 2 got on. I've already got an understanding of who we hired at that point, and the commission can move on.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then the short term, the other council liaison appointments. Is this the correct venue to sit there and say if we've got a preference going towards one of the boards versus another, or
sure,
just do that by
it's
email
discussion?
as well?
Absolutely.
And I'm just asking for
Yes.
functional elements here. So, and can somebody explain to me how all council represents on those boards? Is it rotating between council members, or is it just?
So on 2 of those, which would be the Colorado Municipal League, there's not one spot. So all of the council is able to join in any meetings and everything else that comes with it. So there's not anything that we appoint. And Visit Durango is probably mute now that I see it, because Visit Durango no longer exists. It's actually our tourism commission. Those are the only 2 that are all of council that or is there a third? Oh, the Fort Lewis College Board. I'm not sure if I have much information on which that board is.
It's always been listed. Sorry, it's always been listed as all of council can attend that board meeting. I think it's at the pleasure of council again.
Do we have a voting seat on those boards then?
No, none of those there are a voting seat. It's just that meetings that the council can attend.
Okay.
As a liaison, if you will.
Okay.
And Kip, we have had sometimes have had counselors serve like as an elected voting member of CML. I think Melissa did it. Did she not? I believe Melissa was on CML, and so you can run for a board seat on CML. Otherwise, like we all go to the CML conference and then we do like the regional meetings for CML.
Okay. That was really the extent of my questions on this. At this point, I just want some clarifications there, and I do think we ought to change out either Councilor Gonzalez or myself, just so we don't have 2 newbies on one of these.
All right, we'll make a note of that.
Is there anyone who'd want to volunteer to be on that, or who'd want to switch up?
Does. Sure.
Who wants to be switched off on that list as a
Kip
proposed?
does, apparently.
Okay.
It doesn't matter to me.
Do you have any more?
No, I'm good. I support what was presented. So.
just close discussion, and then we will have this as an item with a formal resolution that outlines everything for the council to consider and vote on at the next council meeting.
Alrighty, so we'll move forward then. We'll close that out.
A quick point of clarification, do we need to vote, have a roll call on that motion?
So the process, as I understand it, is you had a resolution to open discussion. You had the discussion. Tradition has Councilor Yazzie bringing back a formal list. That would be up for another discussion, another vote. And if you didn't agree with what she came back with after hearing the discussion tonight, you'd make a motion to amend it or change it at that time. But yeah, just to be completely formal tonight, I would take a vote to approve the fact that you've had the discussion and you received the input from the council. You can probably just do that by an acclamation vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is a resolution to amend the city's capital budget submitted by Finance.
Okay, well, thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a amendment to amend the city's capital budget. Goes. So we always like to start off with a fund summary for the pertinent funds that we are amending. So this is showing that we do have the funding available after the amendments are made to support the amendments that we're talking about tonight. And with that, I will actually hand it off to Laura Rick to talk about the project-specific amendments.
Elliot? Oops. All right. So the first project we're going to be talking about for amendment is North College Drive. You're all fairly familiar with this project. It's a full reconstruction of North College, including water, sewer, storm, and multimodal and streets. So the North College Drive project is continuing into 2025, and we're asking for additional funds to complete the road reconstruction and to cover the costs of contingency and capital improvement management. As you're aware, the project faced many unexpected challenges last year, many of which we learned from, and we're using what we learned to better our planning in the future, including verification of underground utilities, their location, and their existing operability. The project itself couldn't begin on time due to existing waterline valve failures requiring replacements. Then we had water main breaks, and discovering an entire cul-de-sac had Orangeburg sewer pipe rather than clay or plastic pipe. So there's a picture of Orangeburg pipe down in the corner, which was what you would use in the 50s and 60s. So this particular project, we are asking for, out of the 2019 fund, $547,000, and out of the water construction fund, $400,000 additional funding. This funding is only to be used for road reconstruction. And the reason that the water fund is pitching toward road reconstruction is because we would not have had to do road reconstruction in an area had we not had to tear it up to replace that Orangeburg pipe and the water infrastructure underneath it. The next project I'm asking for amendment for this is actually a new project, 9th and 10th Street between 4th and 5th Avenue. This is a sewer project, and it's new that came up unexpectedly in January. So a contractor was digging in the alley between 9th and 10th Streets to fix a private sewer service line, and they found a large clay storm pipe sitting directly on top of a small clay sanitary sewer pipe, crushing the smaller pipe. So the hole in the pipe in this picture is actually where the service connection comes in, so that hole's meant to be there. But look at the bottom of the pipe, and you can see there's a crack along it, and then right where the bell is, the pipe is gone. So the only reason that we don't have a sanitary sewer overflow here is because the pipe, thankfully, is lined with polymer. So we did a patch repair on this to avoid a sanitary sewer overflow. In-house did that, but this needs to be repaired and replaced immediately. So what our plan is just to abandon the old line and move the sewer over so that it moves it out from underneath the storm. And it's the length of the alley, but that's where it stops. So it's just in the alleyway. The impacts to the public will be pretty minimal, just staging materials on 9th or 10th. And the services in that alleyway will be interrupted for a short period of time while we make the transition from the old pipe to the new pipe. And the last project on this amendment is for the Santa Rita Entrance Road. The project's original scope and budget were approved by FAB and Council in 2024-2025, but due to the bids coming in over 40% higher than what we had budgeted, the scope of the project was reduced to only complete the items that would fix the safety and operational issues, which include widening the turn, that 90-degree turn as you come into Santa Rita Park, you make the right-hand turn. We need to widen that so that we can properly fit the large trucks that we have frequently going through there to access this wastewater facility, and to officially abandon the old RV dump station that was located over by the wastewater plant. So this reduces the 2025 request from over $1 million to $330,000. $282,000 of that is coming from the sewer fund. And then we have an alternate addition to the project for a multimodal portion for $50,000. So that's why that's coming out of the sewer fund and the 2015 fund. Do you have any questions for me on any of those projects?
Yes. Could we get a motion first?
Mayor, I move to approve a resolution to amend the city's capital budget for the aforementioned projects. Oh, well, I guess we'll do this one. I make a motion to approve Resolution R 2025-XX, appropriating sums of money to the various funds and spending agencies in the amounts and for the purpose as set forth below for capital expenditures for the city of Durango, Colorado for the 2025 budget year.
So motion is second, now discussion.
Thank you for the presentation. And so just, I have the liberty of asking some questions, being the new person. So tell me, how common is it that this occurs, that you start the project and recognize that it's not what you thought it was going to be, that there's issues with the foundation underneath or the plumbing underneath? How common a scenario is this?
Are you talking about like the unexpected, when we were talking about North College and we had unexpected things pop up?
Yes.
So one of the things that we learned from last year is that part of the design process, we need to have a higher, I'm trying to think of the wording here. We can't just rely on like 811 to come in and locate underground utilities. We need to do ground penetrating radar. We need to do potholing so we can lay eyes on the utilities that are underground. And that's something that moving forward is going to be part of our standard procedure. Is during design, we're doing potholing. We're spending the extra time to make sure what we have in the ground is where we think it is. And that was one thing that we didn't do for 250, 251 and North College. So we've been running into these situations where we'll start digging and we'll say, well, the 16-inch water line is supposed to be over there, but it's right here, right where we need to put our storm sewer. So it's common. We're trying to make it less common.
So can you go back to the presentation, please? Sure. It shows how much was budgeted and then ultimately what the cost was.
So here's the one for North College. Is this the one you were referring to?
I'm sorry, how much was a project originally budgeted for? I see an additional amount requested and then were the funds, but how much was it originally?
Thanks, Evan.
Okay.
For project managers here for my backup. So yeah, approximately 5 million was
So
budgeted.
approximately 5 million, and there was about a 20% amended request, about $1 million. Am I right? Is my
Yeah,
math
and
right?
we do budget for 10% for contingency and then 5% for capital improvement management. And as I said, the unexpected issues that we popped into last year forced us to go through that contingency, unfortunately.
Sorry, how common is it that we go through our contingencies on capital road projects? Maybe that's for Jose, but
Not too common.
okay.
Yeah.
And so, so in this scenario, we use street funds and water construction funds, but in the other project, to make the amendment, could you move to the next presentation?
So this one is just sewer, and then this one is some sewer and some 2015 multimodal.
And can you explain why you use different funds?
Yeah, so the sales tax funding has ballot language that identifies what we can use the funding for. And so the 2019 sales tax is very specific for roads, multimodal, some storm sewer, storm drain projects. 2015 is for parks and rec and multimodal. And then of course, water and sewer are their respective funds for water and sewer projects. So for portions of the projects where we have a multimodal aspect or portion of it, multimodal will be paying for that and sewer would be paying for their portion.
In one of the projects, I think you said that there was a change. I think it's this one here, the Santa Rita project. Because of large trucks coming through. And was that expected when you designed the project?
Yeah, so when the wastewater facility was redone and this area was redone, the road was created too narrow on that turn to be able to fit a commercial truck and a vehicle through, like a regular car through. So it basically creates a one-way if you're trying to go in there and a big truck's coming out. So it's a safety issue. And with the frequency of the big trucks coming through, we need to widen that road.
Okay.
All right, may I take a moment?
Thank you.
Okay, so like some of this historical building, we should meet one-on-one because like Santa Rita Park, well, it used to be Gateway Park and then it turned to Santa Rita Park and then we got the big water treatment system going on. So what the Public Works is trying to do is work with what we already have existing. And just, it was unfortunate in the past that we didn't do very well on putting as-built drawings in the plans as they did the work. And so a lot of the pipes are either clay, plastic, or whatever, so our Public Works is doing the best they can to patch this together. And I appreciate all the work they do and the explanation that Laura's given because it's pretty complicated what's under the ground. So we can meet one-on-one and figure that.
Yes, Mayor. Oh, go ahead, Dave. You sure? You good? Okay. Just one question. The investigation around the pipe being stacked on the other pipe, obviously from 9th to 10th, it's a huge issue. Any chance that we've thought about the contractor who might have done that work has done work in other alleys and we might be looking at that exact same situation?
We've inspected other alleys and this is the only alley that we're aware of that this has happened, but that was installed probably 65 years ago.
There's no records of which alley they were on or not on. Okay.
Right.
They're dead.
Yep.
Okay. Laura.
Sure.
Laura, thank you so much for all the information. I just had a couple questions. In a perfect world, it mentioned that there might be some outages for both water and sewer. In a perfect world, what would you estimate the potential outage to be for some of the folks that could be experiencing some of those?
Right, as little as possible. So maybe an afternoon, at most a day. And like I said, we would be limiting it as much as we could. So we would be laying the new pipe and putting in the services and then making that connection to the new pipe at the last minute. And then our standard procedure for if we're going to put you out of service, we would make sure that you're set up at the rec center for if you need to have showers, we need portable toilets, providing water to you, whatever we need to do, because we don't want you to be out of service for too long.
Of course. Thank you. And then I'm a dummy. I don't remember. Could you please go through like the process of like how we would notify some of these residents about some of those potential outages and how much lead time that they could potentially have?
Yep. So if for the impacted area, we would be reaching out to these residences well in advance of even starting the work. And again, standard, if we've got a scheduled outage, we give residents at least 72 hours notice, and that is us physically going to your door and knocking on the door and making eye contact with you and telling you that that you're going to be out of service and making accommodations for you.
That's great. Thank you so much. And then the last one I have, I know the RV dump station has been out of commission for some time. Does the city still own or have access to RV dump stations? Do we have any plans of opening up one with the city?
Not that I'm aware of. Nope.
And then there's some other private ones. I know Tarpley RV, but they shut down.
Right. And
So-
I don't know if they've abandoned theirs or not.
Okay. And then are you familiar? Do we know if there's any other ones available in the community?
I don't know, but I can find out for you.
That might be good. Just what I don't want to do is just somebody having some full,
Yep.
A full load,
A
and then all of a
situation.
sudden they don't have a way to access some of that way to offload. So yeah, it might be good just to know, like, even from a PIO standpoint of like where some of these RV dump stations as we're coming into our busy season. That would be great.
Durango Motors is expanding onto the Tarpley RV property.
Believe
Is that
so.
part of, have we checked on what they're doing with their, does anybody know?
Infancy of that.
Yeah.
I do not know, sir.
Okay. Good. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Anything else? Okay,
No,
thank
but
you.
Thank you for your explanation.
Of course.
So this, to confirm, this is for resolution 2025-0027. Councilor Buell.
Yes, sorry.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilor Koso.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff.
Yes.
And Mayor Yazzie.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is 15.1, an ordinance accepting the conveyance of Lot 14 from the Durango Mesa Park Foundation to the city of Durango.
Great. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Yazzie, councilors. Daniel Murray with Community Development. I'm Development Services Manager. The item before you this evening is the first consideration of an ordinance authorizing city manager of the city to accept a donation of land from Durango Mesa Park and the execution of all closing documents associated with that land donation. So this fits very neatly within our mission to provide outstanding experiences for the entire community, as well as our vision for a community that is both thriving and environmentally responsible. Looking at this from a high level, Durango Mesa is 1,930 acres. They're shown in green. It was purchased by the Cats back in 2015, and over the past 10 years, city and the foundation have been in a partnership to do, among many things, most notably the master plan. So you see areas on the right side of shades of green. So those are your passive and active open space areas. And then as you get further down into the flatter lands, areas in purple, red, and bottom green are your events, special events, cultural amenities, as well as more active like ball fields and park style improvements. That's a very high level. The subject parcel that we're looking at tonight is lot 14. So it's the stair step you see in yellow. It's 391 acres. And I'll read from the proposed conveyance deed. It is for public open space, for public parks, public recreation, and for facilities and improvements related to those uses. So this is much different land than you see in the lower area in shades of brown, where it's flatter. This is our rolling terrain in the backside of the gulch, on the backside of Telegraph, actually. So that's the subject parcel. I'll actually go back for a second there because lot 13 and a portion of lot 8 will be subsequent conveyances that are all contemplated in time. So lot 14 is the first of such conveyance to the city. Now, a lot has happened over the 10 years. Annexation, for one. The land was also replatted and configured in ways that it can be more conveniently conveyed and utilized. There has been abundant studies, but the item that brings us here tonight is in 2024, the foundation and the city entered into a long-term planning, development, maintenance, and operational agreement. It spelled out a whole host of commitments, such as funding improvements, and there's actually been funding agreements to date, speaking to which portions we will contribute. There's been extensive planning. Trails is what we can most currently relate to. But one of the items was contemplated as lot 14. So this is the first of the phased land conveyances. I'll actually go back a step to more of the infrastructure, because right now the road and water infrastructure is what's being constructed. So this is all happening many years in the making. At your meeting 2 weeks ago, Council did introduce this item, which brings us up today. This is the first consideration of the ordinance, and should Council act on this, there'll be one more consideration on May 6th. Looking at our strategic plan and comprehensive plan, they have very similar language that speak to the creation, preservation, and maintenance of parks, trails, and natural lands. So this this accomplishes both strategic and comprehensive plan objectives. There has been no public comment to date, and with that, staff's recommendation is to approve the ordinance for land conveyance.
Alrighty, thank you, Daniel. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve an ordinance authorizing city manager of the city of Durango to accept a donation of land from the Durango Mesa Park Foundation and to execute all closing documents to accept the land donation.
Second.
Discussion? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Daniel. I just have a few questions. I think this is a very exciting project, but can you explain why it's been done in different parcels? Why different lots rather than just one at a time?
The question being, why one at a time?
Yes, why one at a time? Or what? Perhaps there's been a number of parcels or lots. This is lot 14. Has there been a 1 through 14? Or is it just, and what is the purpose of breaking it down in that manner?
Sure, yeah, this is, I guess you could say, with the exception of lot 15 and 16, those are little remnant parcels down by the river. This is a very large piece of land that has now been replatted to create, as I mentioned, more incremental and to coincide with the master plan. So for incremental build out. Lot 14, maybe if I'm understanding your question, why is it being dedicated and why is it set aside? It is largely the passive open space land that there will not be the type of development that we're going to see in the lower lands. So that way it can be a donation to the city, enhancing our Horse Gulch amenities and letting the foundation focus on what is priority to them lower down.
I guess the question is more, I mean, I understand if it has been done in phases and why it has been done in phases and not all at a time. So because of the incremental and the differences of the parcels or the lots, that they had different uses and different purposes, that's why we're doing it in this manner?
They do have different uses. That's what was broadly contemplated here, shown here. I'm thinking of your question and essentially why do this in phases?
Why in phases? Why in parcels? Because you mentioned there's going to be a 15 and a 16.
Daniel, I can help you out a little bit if you want.
Yeah.
This is a very, very generous donation by a foundation. And in the meetings that I attended, it was the preference of the donor that we phase these projects. The idea of giving all the property to the city all at one time was not objectionable, but it wasn't their preference going forward. So the master plan that we came up to do it in the phases of the parcels that we have was out of deference to the generosity of the donor of the property.
As well as about they're doing substantial private investment into their portion of the amenities that they're doing. So this is a true partnership in which they're doing the private amenities. We're also providing public funding to it. And so as part of that, they are giving us some of the spaces to be preserved as parkland in exchange for some of the investment that we're doing on their property for some of the bigger things that we're doing. And so it's all in a manner to be a public-private partnership and doing it to preserve the land to be parkland.
Well, I'm fully supportive. I just wondered if there was a purpose for the multi-phases and why not just all at one time. But I understand that perhaps there's a desire for a lot of reasons for it to be phased in. This is one of the most amazing projects I've ever seen. So I'm hugely supportive. I just wondered why the manner of which we're doing it. So thank you for the feedback. Thank you, Mayor.
Just a couple questions. Do we have any issues around the migration corridor that we've got? We close our gates on that backside of Horse Gulch during the winter. Is any of that? Is there any issues associated with the open space?
That can be something I can follow up with you on parks.
Yeah.
In terms of their new management of the land.
Okay. Sure. And then is there any restrictions on here? I'm not sure where we might connect from Horse Gulch across to Grandview, but I'm not sure if this is the space that might happen. So I was just wondering if there was restrictions on us doing any trails in this area.
There is not. It would fit squarely within the public recreation and facilities improvements for those uses.
Great.
Yeah, and conveniently, parks can speak to the question of the land.
Come up and bail him out a little bit. Kelly Schmidt, Parks and Recreation Director. We have been working with CPW and the migration. We're being very conscientious. Durango Mesa Park Foundation is very aware. Right now, the closures have been happening as they've asked, and so the partnership continues. There's been no issues to date. And as far as the phasing goes for the development of the park, it's the wish of the foundation that they retain ownership of some of the active development locations in the matrix for a timed dedication of the entire land. We're looking at 10 to 20 years out from the entire thing potentially coming to the city.
And Maura has promised to be here for the entire 20 years. Is that correct?
Is Maura in the audience? I didn't see her come in. Feel free to come on up. Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Hi. Nice to see all the new faces. Welcome and congratulations. I'm Maura Montrose-Compton. I'm the Executive Director of the Durango Mesa Park Foundation. One thing I just wanted to clarify on Lot 14, there are 2 existing trails that are historical trails on that parcel. Those will remain intact. And this really is a focus of an open space parcel that connects City of Durango area just to the left to BLM area to the right. And so that is the goal of that property, to remain in that kind of existing condition. But the trails do exist on it. And as of right now, there are no plans for any new or expanded trails as well.
So the 2 trails that are there, is that the south?
It's Old Car Loop.
Okay.
Yep. And there's a portion of Yellow Brick Road in on the south end of that lot.
And I don't think Kelly, I don't know if you know that we're not advertising Old Car Loop Trail anymore, correct?
But plenty of people do know about that, but
Yeah.
yes.
No, I agree. Okay, great.
It does have historical use. Yep.
The car does?
The loop.
Just kidding. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Councilor Gonzalez. Mayor Yazzie.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff.
Yes.
Councilor Buell.
Yes.
Councilor Coso.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is item 15.2, an ordinance enacting a violation for parking in private parking lots on private property, Chapter 24, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 3, Parking Administration and Regulations, Section 24-81, Parking Motor Vehicles on Private Property, submitted by the City Attorney's Office.
I move to approve an ordinance enacting a violation for parking in private parking lots or on private property, Chapter 24 Traffic and Vehicles, Article 3, Parking Administration and Regulations, Section 24-81, Parking Motor Vehicles on Private Property.
Second.
Mayor and Council, this was an ordinance that was requested of my office by the public, specifically the part of the public that has private parking lots that people park in without permission. We didn't reinvent an ordinance. We plagiarized one from Boulder or Longmont or some other city in Colorado. And what this does, it allows our parking enforcement officers or city employees to give parking tickets to issue citations to vehicles that are parked in private parking lots. There is a posting requirement, so it has to be posted as private. They have to cite the ordinance, and then we will be able to issue those citations. Happy to answer any questions.
There's existing parking lots that are open to the public at 6 p.m., I think. Does this in any way, I think we stopped doing enforcement. It's
The public parking
Those are
lots?
Public parking lots. This applies to private.
So there's some private lots that open up to the public at 6.
I don't think they're private lot. I think they're just private lots. And if I'm correct, it's currently right now, if somebody parks on somebody's privately owned lot illegally, under our current ordinances, we don't have the ability to regulate that, or trying to think of a different word, but regulate it. This would then give us the ability to regulate somebody parking illegally on somebody's private land. Correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I'm not aware of any private lots that open themselves up to the public at 6, but if there are,
Tafoya Barrett building does it? Somebody else, maybe it's something, a separate conversation, I think. Thank you.
Maybe an odd question. If there's any sort of administrative fine with that, would those fine monies go towards the city, or would the private property owner retain any?
No,
Okay.
it would all be done by the city.
Okay, it'd all go to the city. Okay, I just thought there might be a vested interest for somebody to like, oh yeah, go on, park here, and then.
No, it would be processed like a parking meter ticket or any other ticket in the city.
Okay.
It's just, if you've been here long enough, you've been in a town where it's an issue everywhere I've worked, where, if you don't have that ordinance posted, people tend to park, and then the property owners are somewhat of a loss of doing private towing, all this kind of thing. So again, this was requested by some of the private property parking lot owners, and we went and found an ordinance that has worked in other jurisdictions.
Excellent, thank you.
Any more discussion? Alrighty, could we get a vote?
Mayor Yazzie,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Koso,
Yes.
Councilor Buell.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda would be 15.3, an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 1, Application and Adoption of the Model Traffic Code, Section 24-2, Model Traffic Code adopted, again, submitted by the City Attorney's Office.
Okay, I move to approve an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 1, Application and Adoption of Model Traffic Code, Section 24-2, Model Traffic Code adopted.
Okay, for the new counselors, this ordinance and the next ordinance are part of a series of ordinances that over the past year we have been putting 3/4 on the agenda. They are updates that were recommended by outside counsel that runs the Muni Code Corporation that houses the codes for all different municipalities around the country. They offer a service where you can have them go through your code, and they recommend changes to have your code align with state code, national code, and be in compliance with different court cases that have happened since the last time you updated your code. So for the older counselors, they've seen 4 or 5 ordinances every meeting where we're getting this updated. I promise that we're getting to the end of that. I think we have 7 left to do. the next two ordinances are part of that project that we've been doing. This one specifically changes some of the traffic violations to traffic infractions and misdemeanors. It gives the court jurisdiction over minors for traffic violations, which we didn't have before in municipal court. And it gives a procedure for minors and parents and guardians to proceed through the process. There were some questions specifically about 15.4, but we're not on that yet. I'll answer them under this one if you need me to, but I think if anyone has questions, it's on the next one. So again, this is simply adopting the Colorado 2024 model traffic code. We had been using the 2010 model traffic code, so it's a 14-year update to catch up with the state as recommended by outside counsel and my office.
All righty, thank you, Mark, for doing all this hard work to get us up to snuff. Could I get a vote?
Counselor Koso,
Yes.
Counselor Buell,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Mayor Yazzie,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez. The next item on the agenda would be 15.4, an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 4, Penalties and Procedures.
I move to approve an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 4, Penalties and Procedures.
Second.
Again, there were some questions about this one at the last meeting. That outside counsel, they gave us their recommendations about a year ago. The state changed some things during that year, and the state put out some bad information about this one. We went back and checked all of that. The ordinance as amended since its introduction has been corrected. There was a change in the hours that apply to juveniles, and there was a section that was questioned as being included that wasn't included. So we've done our due diligence. This is a part of that process, and any issues that it had upon introduction have been corrected.
Any more questions? Seeing none, could we get a vote?
Counselor Buell,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Koso,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Mayor Yazzie.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is 15.5, an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 16, Noise, Section 16-8, Unreasonable Noise Prohibited.
I move to approve an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 16, Noise, Section 16-8, Unreasonable Noise Prohibited.
Second.
This is an ordinance that we're amending because a criminal defense attorney in Durango pointed out to us that there was a case saying that our language was unconstitutionally vague. And in that case, it recommended language that's not vague, so we made that change. So again, this is a change requested by a criminal defense attorney that we took his comments to heart, we researched it, and we're making the change.
Hearing no other discussion, could we please get a vote?
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mayor Yazzie,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Counselor Buell,
Yes.
Counselor Koso.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is item 15.6, an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 17, Article 8, Offenses Related to Weapons, Section 17-121, Firearms and Other Deadly Weapons in Public Buildings Prohibited.
I move to approve an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 17, Article 8, Offenses Related to Weapons, Section 17-121, Firearms and Other Deadly Weapons in Public Buildings Prohibited.
Second.
About a year ago, we were asked to, my office was asked to introduce an ordinance prohibiting weapons in city buildings. I think there had been an incident with someone bringing a machete into the council chambers before I got here. So we introduced that ordinance, and it was patterned after, the ordinances that you see at courtrooms for people not bringing weapons. We applied that to our city buildings. Since we passed that, some of our bus drivers in the police department have asked whether or not we could apply that to our public transit buses. And that's what this ordinance does. It applies that same ordinance, that same language, just adds city buses to the list of public places you cannot bring a weapon. There was some question about people bringing weapons to work. I think the specific question was about bringing a Stanley knife or a box cutter. That is not prohibited by this. It's only weapons, specifically knives with blades greater than 3.5 inches, which are considered deadly weapons as opposed to simple tools.
Any questions? Hearing none, could we have a vote?
Mayor Yazzie,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez, Counselor Koso,
Yes.
Counselor Beal.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is item 16, public comment on matters, city matters not scheduled for a vote tonight. Tom, could we have the recording, please? There are several people signed up, Mayor. The first is Chris McCarthy.
My name is Chris McCarthy. I've been a Durango resident for 3 years now. I'm here to talk about the Bump Outs for Business initiative. I'd just like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to this city council and your predecessors for following through with this initiative this season. In my humble opinion, prioritizing land for vibrant local businesses is a better use of public resources than subsidizing the convenience of parking. As traffic continues to worsen, it seems that we are a critical junction. We can either choose to expansion or solutions. One path is expansion. We prioritize the convenience of drivers above everything else and building more lanes, more parking, and more highways. We already know what this looks like from Houston to LA, Phoenix to Seattle. We demolish our history, pave every surface, snuff out the character of a neighborhood, and it doesn't even fix the problem. Driving in these places is worse than ever. On the other path, we look for solutions, not forward, but backwards towards the founders who made this downtown so historic and ask why we can't do the same, why we can't bring community back to the streets, why we can't build walkable neighborhoods. There is no immutable hurdle that prohibits us from creating these spaces again, just a change in priorities. The Bump Outs for Business initiative and the Downtown Next Step program are a great start, and I want to express my wholehearted support. I think it's fair to say people don't come to downtown for the parking. They certainly don't come down here for the driving. They come here to enjoy a vibrant community that can only be found in a walkable neighborhood. It gives me hope to see a city council prioritizing the preservation of this vibrancy, even at the ire of all those grumpy drivers. So thank you for your time and thank you for your further resolve on this issue. Thank you.
The next person signed up to speak is Emily Frogen.
Hi, I'm here to talk about the sustainability fee. My name is Emily Frogen, and I am a city resident. Yes, I'm Emily Frogen, and I'm also the Energy and Climate Program at the local nonprofit San Juan Citizens Alliance. And I'm here to talk on behalf of the Alliance, as well as Durango's Climate Study Group, to advocate for a change in the city sustainability fee. As you may know, on every city utility bill, there is a $2.30 sustainability fee. That's a flat fee that funds Durango's vital sustainability department. On behalf of our local coalition, I propose that the city change this flat $2.30 fee to a 1.5% fee that's based on the user's total bill. Currently, Durango's sustainability fee brings in $215,000 annually. The fee was a really good start for funding sustainability initiatives, but it falls short in two ways. The first is that it does not equate to enough money to fund the necessary sustainability measures needed to meet the city's reduction goals. The second is that it does not incentivize city utility users to reduce their consumption. If City Council changes this flat fee to a sustainability fee that's based on 1.5% of the user's total bill, the city would accomplish three things. The first is that you'd see a 30% increase in sustainability department funding without diverting funds from elsewhere in the budget. The second is that you'd incentivize city users to reduce their bill and reduce their consumption. And the third is that you would take a more equitable approach to funding sustainability department by penalizing the city's largest water users while lowering the average user's bill. With a little bit of math, we were able to figure out that this shift from a flat fee to a percentage will reduce the median bill in Durango, which is $110, from $2.30 to $1.65. So you'll reduce the average user's bill while simultaneously adding $23,250 per month to the sustainability department's budget. Durango is not on track to meet its greenhouse gas reduction goals and needs to do more to reach the 50% reduction by 2030. The greenhouse gas inventory that came out last year in March showed that Durango has only reduced 10% between 2016 and 2024. That's leaving us 40% to go. We are asking you all to follow through with Durango's commitment to reduce greenhouse gas reductions. And our local coalition is asking you to add to the agenda and to look into changing the $2.30 flat fee to a 1.5 percentage fee of the total use. You also see an email in your inbox and new counselors, now that we have your email, that'll be forwarded in there. We're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
The next person signed up to speak is Andrew Thompson.
Time marker. Good. Good evening. My name is Andrew Thompson. I am a resident of Durango, and I'm the vice president of the Durango Area Youth Hockey Association, and also here to speak in behalf of a new ice rink facility. So I've got two kids, both actively involved in ice sports. My son was part of the 12U state championship team that was recognized here very graciously by the council several weeks ago. So thank you for that. He had a great time coming up here and being recognized for that. My daughter's a figure skater, has been doing that for 4 or 5 years. I've dabbled in some of the adult hockey. So as you can imagine, I spent a lot of time at Chapman. And it has been an absolutely outstanding community for myself and my family. I joined the DAHA board because I wanted to see that grow. And, I felt like, what it did for my family, seeing what that can do for other people, I wanted to continue to support that and do what I could to be part of helping that grow. We have tapped into all the low-hanging fruit to expand that as much as we can, and expand it has. We have added so many kids to the Hockey Association. The figure skating, I've seen it go from about 5 to 10 girls. I think at the spring show a few weeks ago, it was about 60 or 70 girls. So there's been huge growth, but we're absolutely tapped out. There's no more room for growth. We've done everything we can to expand that ice time. I know, for example, my son next year, he's going to be in 7th grade. He's going to be having practice that starts at 8:15, 8:30 at night, getting done at 8:30, getting home by 10 p.m. And it's far worse for the older age groups as well. So ice time is very, very precious to this community. When we think about, what, a new facility could mean for us, not only would it allow for our very successful programs to continue to be more successful, and we talk about state champions and both high school as well as the 12U team this past year. I've seen the girls go win a bunch of awards, at these figure skating competitions, and we're doing that with ice time that's only during the winter and with very limited practice time. With additional ice time, we could do so much more, but more than that is what it can do for the community. So Durango is kind of popping up on the radar of people as this place that, wow, they're really showing out for this, the town that's not on the Front Range. How are you guys able to do so well? We have the opportunity to build something really amazing doing summer camps, having tournaments hosted here, having, just a lot of additional things that, can bring in a lot of different people to the community. I think we're going to be talking about bringing thousands of additional people into the community and really making this a hub for not just, hockey or figure skating, but also just a bunch of different events that can take place here. So I really envision that there's a future that we can create here that not only continues to build this amazing community that we have, among the kind of the ice rink community. But also, I think, really make this a destination for people from all over the state, all over the Four Corners, and other places as well. So thank you for your consideration on that, and thank you for everything that you guys do. Thanks.
Andrew? Hey, Andrew, could you talk to me after council if you're still around? Thanks.
The next person signed up to speak is Jonathan Bell.
He may have left. He was here as part of the Parkinson's Coalition previously.
The next person is Paul Gelosi.
Evening, Council. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm also here. My name is Paul Gelos. I'm a 25-year resident plus of City of Durango. I'm here also to talk about the ice rink on a different standpoint. The history of Chapman Hill, about 25 years ago, a group of citizens came together with a vision for putting a community of skaters, both hockey and figure skating, together. Through private funding, public funding, help from the NHL, they piecemealed what we see as Chapman Hill today. It is super successful. It is the petri dish of build it and they will come. It really is phenomenal. It is bursting at the seams without a doubt. But on a different note, I'm a city employee. I work for Parks and Rec. I am a manager, part-time manager at the ice rink. I help with ice production, ice maintenance. And it is true that the entire slab is tilting into the Florida River. And this year in particular, when we made ice, we had a bare spot up in the northwest corner of the rink that was not holding water. When we flood, it just drains out the Zamboni doors. Worse than ever this year. We expect it to continue that direction. It'd be great to have a new rink for lots of different reasons, but the real reason is we're not going to have a rink in a few years. It's not going to hold water. So we have such a great momentum of enthusiastic hockey players, figure skating. Public skating brings in an enormous amount of revenue for the city. It is very, very successful. We've come such a long way with this momentum that it would be a shame to lose the hockey community, the figure skating community, the tourist attraction that it provides. It is a reality that this rink has really problems with maintaining ice coming into the future. I don't think it's fixable where it is. I think a twin rink would provide all the things that everybody has previously spoke about. But it's not that we're a greedy community of hockey players and figure skaters that we need public restrooms and we need showers and we need a bigger sheet of ice. All that would be great. But the reality is that we're really in dire need of a fix that would continue the community and continue the vision that these guys 25 years ago started. And they really worked hard to create Chapman Hill. And as I say, build it and they will come. I truly believe that. I know it's a big project to underdo, but we're here today to start the vision. And I really believe it's a great, great asset for our community. It's proven itself today, and it's going to prove itself going into the future. Just again, thank you very much for this opportunity. Congratulations on the new town council or city council members, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next person signed up is Karen Anisi.
I'm a city resident, and I went to the Arbor Day celebration today, and it was pretty impressive. And I wanted to say that I've gone to a number of them over the years, and one of the great things about today's was the number of people that I didn't recognize, many from the other parts of the city and the county, and there were a couple of Forest Service employees and a large group from the high school, and I can't think of the name of the group, but they were planting the 5 hawthorns, and there was information about planting bare root and potted trees. Really a delightful day. And one of the things I wasn't there for the whole presentation, but I I wish I would have mentioned something to the staff because a month ago or so, when I was passing out 2A signs, you know, you get a lot of feedback when you ask people for money. You know, one of the really positive things that I heard is recognition about the trees have been well maintained over the years. There's been a lot of pruning in the last 8 to 10 years, and sometimes it takes a few years to have the benefit of that show up. And you know, I've been here long enough that I remember when they just topped the trees, or they pounded nails in the trees and had garage sale signs in them. So the fact that the staff in the specific comment, one of them was, it's really nice when staff pays such good attention to preserving this asset. I guess what I'd like to say too is the educational component of that and the outreach was something that I didn't expect. And I hope that we can have more of those in the future because, like I said, you had the county, you had the kids working, the old geezers were there, and it was all around delightful. So I hope someone passes that on to the forestry gang. Thank you.
The last person signed up to speak is online, Ashley Tucker.
Ashley, if you want to unmute your mic, you can speak.
Do we have it all, Tom? Ashley?
She can speak. Her microphone's muted on her side.
Ashley, if you can hear us, you're muted. On to number 17.
Item 17 is other new business.
Nope. No. Jessica, any new business or other items?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Meeting adjourned.
The last item on the agenda is adjournment.
Okay, adjourned.